Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Well, we have, again, a lot to cover. Don't worry, I'm still working on the other video, but we have a lot to cover today because there is a big Netflix kerfuffle. And another Archetypes podcast dropped, and you can imagine what happened. Yes, she turned the whole thing to herself. And of course, the regular royals have been out and about. So let's just jump in with both feet and get going, okay? I also have a message for everybody at the very end, so stay tuned. Let's go. We're going to start off this morning with an article that was put out. Apparently, Charles headed to Balmoral, specifically one of two of the royals, to reach out to express his thanks for the fabulous job that all the militaries came together and did for his mother's procession of her coffin back to the palace. I think that's lovely. He didn't have to do that, but he did. Very nice. Go, Charles. All right, we have the first joint engagement for Charles and Camilla. The first joint engagement in London. Okay, let me just clarify. They went to speak to some school children. They talked about school lunches, etc., etc. I mean, what else would you talk about with school children? Here's a little smidge of him showing up. Watch this.
You guys want to move forward? Are you happy?
Yeah, for the moment.
Let me know when you want to move.
Really cute. One of the kids said, "How old are you?" Typical child. "How old are you?" And Prince Charles looks at him and says, "Guess." I don't think I heard a response from the kid at that point, which was probably a smart thing. So watch this.
I hear it's your half term next week.
Yes.
You get 2 weeks. You can have a guess. You get a decent summer holiday, I think.
Very nice, thank you.
Very nice, thank you very much.
You very much needed it as well.
We do.
So Charles and Camilla were invited to visit Project Zero by the Project Zero youth champion Rico Ty Richards at the big lunch event for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee in June. Now, this was established in Barnabas in 2019, and Project Zero is, you're going to work towards a year with 0 deaths of young people due to knife crime and youth violence. And the founder's cousin was killed by a knife crime at the age of 16 in 2004, which is what started all this. So today, Project Zero does clubs and events and workshops and holiday programs to give kids and teens a safe place to go after school where they can enjoy a hot meal. So the two of them met with staffers who run digital coding, music programs, people behind the scenes for mental health and support services that are geared towards women and girls. They got to have fun with the art projects and boxing training. And King Charles also met some representatives from Waltham Forest College who run the Prince's Trust Team Program. I think that's very nice. They then went on to spend some time with some representatives from the football club, which is a pro soccer team there that gives back to the East London community through its partnership with Project Zero. Looks like a great time was had by all. All right, moving on. Andrew was seen riding around his estate there at Windsor after the Giseline, however you say it, Maxwell, made this statement that photo of him was fake. Now, let's keep in mind, first of all, I've done a video. I'm still trying to get it released, you guys. I haven't, given up yet. But Andrew looks much happier because it looks like he finally might be vindicated. He never admitted to anything. He was never convicted of anything, and he claims that he's innocent. He's never wavered from that. So, yeah, of course he's looking happy. We'll see where that goes. Moving on. Moving back to Charles, he welcomed Ali Bongo Ondimba, who is president of the Republic of Gabon, I think you say it, to Buckingham Palace. It's a former French colony. Gabon is the 55th member state, and so its flag was ceremoniously raised at Marlborough House today in welcome. Very nice. It's being said that this was very emotional because the raising of the flag symbolized Gabon's entry into the Commonwealth, which we know has a population of nearly 2.5 billion, and it was a new chapter in history. Very nice. All right, next up, Queen Camilla met Dua Lipa, I think is how you say that, before presenting the prestigious Booker Prize in London. We know what an avid reader Camilla is. She walked around, she mingled, she got to talk to a lot of people. Looked like she had an absolute fabulous time. Here's a few snippets of video. Watch this. Wow, looks like Camilla did a lot of mingling, a lot of talking. I don't know that I'd be any good at that sort of thing. And it looks like a good time was had by all. She got to hand out the top prize. There you go. Moving on. All right, Princess Anne, who we know is one of the hardest working royals out there, opened a new school in Pembrokeshire. She looked absolutely wonderful. She's always doing something. All right, then she's handing out awards again. She presented to Daniel Craig, James Bond, the Order of St. Michael and St. George, which are the same honors held by the character James Bond in recognition of his outstanding contribution to film and theater. How cool is that? And who could forget the skit that he actually did with the actual Queen? They did the spoof where they jumped out of the helicopter. That was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. I love it. And I love the Queen had that sense of humor, you know what I mean? Where she could just jump in and do it. Really cool. All right, you guys, we have to have a really serious talk now about Netflix. Now, as Unlikely Bot pointed out on Twitter, Netflix said Monday that there's never been any documentary from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex that was confirmed. So does this tell us, rightfully so, that Harry and Meghan are making a docuseries, but Netflix did not commit to it yet? Could that be the problem? Now, Unlikely Bot put up that comment because of what Richard Dean wrote, which was that their reality show or docuseries was postponed by Netflix because Netflix was, quote unquote, rattled. And if you remember, I showed you this article yesterday. So here's the article that I showed you yesterday saying that they were going to stream Harry and Meghan's docuseries right after The Crown came out, okay? Then you have articles like this that Meghan and Harry are being warned by Netflix that, they could kill their contract if what they put out doesn't bring in the viewers, right? They have a kill option in the contract. Very interesting. Now, at the same time, they said it wasn't going to air. Now an article comes out that says it is going to air. And so I was like, what's going on? And then I saw this on Twitter. There is a constant changing narrative. They're going to air it. They're not going to air it. And this could be a publicity stunt to try to get you to think, ooh, I need to watch this. I need to watch this. What's going on? What's going on? Well, in the meantime, you guys know how much I love Sky News. You know how much I love Australian News. And Australian News put out something which just blew me away. So listen to this. Australian News reported that Netflix bosses were very confused. Apparently, they saw a sneak peek of the upcoming memoir, probably due to something in their contract. And what was in the documentary contradicted what was in Harry's tell-all memoir. And so it's being reported that Netflix told Harry and Meghan that there are no guarantees that they're going to greenlight any of their productions to air. Okay, apparently they can cancel the contract at any time and pay up a significantly reduced kill fee. That's probably written into the contract. And we already know that Netflix has walked away from Pearl because they decided the content was not in their interest. Now, since the Queen's death, Harry and Meghan have wanted to, and this is how Australian News put it, they want to backflip on what they wanted their viewers to see in their upcoming docuseries, because now that the Queen has died, now they're concerned about the content, they're in a panic, and Netflix is refusing their requests to have final editing rights over the show. I can't imagine. So now Harry and Meghan are reportedly clashing with their own production team in an attempt to walk back. That's something that I also previously reported to you. It's being reported that Netflix struck this deal because they had the promise of exclusivity and insight into the lives and outlooks which they thought would be a rating success. And instead, what they're getting, what little bit of content they've got, isn't working. And they simply are not going to release whatever is served up to them. They're saying you can go to YouTube for that. Wow. So the source that of all this information remains steadfast. Netflix has and will not pay the $100 million. They got a few million up front for development, but that was just a small balance, which Netflix, they're saying, could see as a necessary loss. So I was right all along when I told people they did not just get that money. Okay, and now they are having money problems. And apparently The Sun reportedly reached out to Netflix and Archewell for comment, and neither has any comment. Shocking. And so with all that, Sky News is reporting that Netflix and Prince Harry's publishers are trying to get the book and docuseries out before Charles's coronation. And if that happens, it's being reported, then the coronation will not be a happy event, because instead of people looking at the coronation, it'll be laden down with all the gossip and the talk about the latest thing that was in the book and the docuseries. And once again, they'll try to steal the attention from Prince Charles. But if they release it afterwards, it's not much better. So what they're saying is Harry and Meghan are literally just a ticking time bomb. The question is, when are they going to go boom? And in the end, they said that Harry and Meghan are unable to put anybody in front of themselves. They can't think of anybody but themselves. But of course, now we know that there's serious money problems. Then the Netflix deal is probably going to go bye-bye. As I've told you guys before, Spotify will not be renewing this contract. They've dropped their, Sunshine Sacks. They've dropped... they're trying to get their security back through IPP status. They're having serious money issues. Yes, they are. And at the same time, it's being reported that Harry realizes that if he releases that memoir and he releases that docuseries and they don't get edited, which it looks like they're not going to get edited, that he will be officially cut off from the family. There will be no way back. And apparently he doesn't want that, but Meghan doesn't care. All right, moving on. Now, at the same time all of this is going on, Queen Camilla posted this on Twitter, that what you're seeing is what is being stated via the news in Australia. So what Australia News again is saying is that could be the end of their contract. That's the end of the money. And I don't believe with this mess that they've done with Netflix and Spotify that any other streaming service would touch them. But I mean, my goodness, even the UK has articles like this one going up saying that Netflix might be banned in the UK. I think they've bitten off more than they can chew. Now, one of my followers left this comment. Apparently, Padina did a show. Now, her research is impeccable. If she said it, it's probably 99.99% true. And apparently, what she reported is 80% of the docuseries is videos while they were in the royal family. And so, therefore, Harry and Meghan don't have the copyright and they aren't allowed to use them. And this might be why Netflix is having to delay. So, and that's probably true. I mean, think about it. All right, here we go. Wait a minute. I apologize. I had to compose myself there. Meghan Markle did another Archetypes podcast. She was talking to, of all people, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton, who has no discernible talent, who doesn't sing, who doesn't act. She's just an heiress to a lot of money. And that's who Meghan had on her podcast. But of course, as I've told you guys before, Meghan always turns the attention back to herself. And she went on about how she was treated like a bimbo on Deal or No Deal when she was a suitcase girl. Right. You know, if Megan really wanted to have a discussion with Paris Hilton, she could have looked at this video, thank you to Megan's mole. Apparently, Paris Hilton likes to use the N-word. She likes calling gay people the F-word. She has a history of homophobic and racist remarks. Why didn't Meghan Markle talk to her about that? It seems that Megan only wants to talk to people who have a certain amount of money in the bank, and she's not interested in the rest. So let me just point something out. Apparently, she can't get any real people of substance on her show. That's why she went with Paris Hilton. Number two, she claims she quit. So I would love for Deal or No Deal to come out now and claim what really happened. It could be that they threatened to fire her, and so she quit to keep from getting fired. I would love to hear from other people, and I would love to hear from them what really went on, because we all know what's really going on here. So, I don't believe for 1 second that she quit her job because they were treating her as a bimbo. And back then, she didn't have anything else in the hopper. She was still going around trying to get noticed and get on shows. So if she quit, I firmly believe it would have been that she was forced to quit or be fired, sort of deal. That's my personal opinion. But once again, is anybody surprised that she had this podcast and all she did was talk about herself again? I'm not shocked at all. Now, Megan admitted, or she said in the beginning, that she interviewed Paris Hilton, who she said built an entire brand out of being the dumb blonde. And that's how she got onto the bimbo stereotype. Well, I hate to point this out, but Paris Hilton did build her entire brand out of being the dumb blonde. She most certainly did. So what? She's a multi-millionaire heiress. We know that Megan only interviews people who have a certain amount of money in their bank account. Okay? You guys, I swear. And then she goes on to say, my entire sense of self-confidence was wrapped up in being the smart one, not the pretty one. And I found the way to project all of my judgment and envy onto her, onto Paris Hilton. And I'm ashamed that I harbored these feelings, and I apologize. Sounds to me, personally, that Paris Hilton was probably one of the people that Harry and Meghan reached out to try to make friends with, and she probably didn't touch her with a 10-foot pole, so she got her on the show, she's apologizing to her, and she's sucking up. That's what I hear. Anyway, I find it interesting that she's now crapping on the people that gave her a break and gave her a job, because we know she didn't get a job acting. She never made it really into Hollywood except for those little bit parts because her acting skills sucked. So, yeah. All right. Now, I want to address one other thing, and then it's like a housekeeping item, and then we're going to end this video. All right. You know, I was on somebody else's channel where I was being mentioned, and somebody put a comment that I was slurring my words and I had an alcohol fund and I was a lush, essentially. I'm sure by now most people realize I don't drink. Not really. The whole time I was in Hawaii, I never took one sip of alcohol. Anyway, the mispronunciation of the words, the slurring sometimes, like Archie's birthday, I meant to say May, I said June. These are residuals from my head injury. I've been living with that since my accident. There's really nothing I can do about it. I'm sure most of you must notice when you look at videos of me that half of my lip doesn't really move like it's supposed to because the nerves were cut when I had the through and through. Now, for those of you who are new and don't know what's going on, if you go to my channel and search, it's called The Tour and Me, and you go to 4 minutes, 8 seconds in, and that will explain what happened. I'll actually put a link to that in the description box, so you guys can catch up on why sometimes my speech is a little odd, okay? But I can assure you I'm not a lush. Okay, all right. Leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. Don't forget about my Patreon. Links to everything are in the description box as well. All right. For those who have donated to the coffee fund and through my thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.